It is honestly so unbelievable that I'm just a few months away from graduating and finally selecting my course for college. When I first began my journey in senior high school, I was just as nervous about the challenges that I may have to face. I kept getting thoughts like, what if I fail? What if I don't get along with the others? What if I'm the odd one out? I realized it was never really that bad. So some areas to speak about before we start is that I am not a people person. I am not the type to ask questions and build a strong relationship with my supervisors or teachers. I do admit it is my weakness due to my shyness that I am not able to create that extra effort with them. This is an aspect that I wish everyone to improve on. As a STEM student, I also underwent physics, calculus, chemistry, biology, and natural science. So chances are, as a STEM girly, my experience may be completely different to yours, especially if you decided to take another course. I'm also not a class officer in my classroom, but I am an executive director in my student organization. The grading system of my school may also be completely different to yours, so here is a basis or standard of what my school uses for their grades. For my credentials being quote-unquote an overachiever, these are the credentials compared with the standards of my school. Another factor about my experience is my Filipino background in a senior high school. We are allowed phones, but only for research purposes. Senior high school is basically a 2-year program that bridges high school and junior high and college. But essentially, it is just the junior and senior year of high school. For the overachiever part, it will mostly be involved in the academics area and not necessarily the extracurricular or sports. So without further ado, number 1, it is not as hard as you think. High school is just a bridge to get you to adjust better into college. Based on my experience, I had more of a culture shock from transferring from my junior high school to my senior high school because of the environment and the differences that I've faced. Most of the fears you'll probably get are from yourself more than anything else. Being completely honest, it will still just feel like high school, just with more workload and a little bit more responsibility. But if you're reaching for honors or a high GPA, you would have to work harder to impress your teachers, as a lot of them can be more technical and stricter with the way they score and grade your work. Learning and mastering how to speak in impromptu, as well as learning how to present a report without reading it out or seeing it through your index cards notes. Most notably, English and research teachers, they can be extremely technical. So you have to watch out for those. And just making the APA 7 format for referencing your second nature, because you're really going to love research. You're gonna have to love research. You have no choice. But on a better note, senior high school gives you more leadership opportunities as you meet a bunch of new people. Some people and classmates you meet can be dependable and hardworking, and some just aren't. And sometimes you have no choice but to work with them anyway. So instead of stressing so much over it, take this situation as an opportunity to hone your leadership skills and spearhead your projects. It can be heavy work, especially as a leader. You have to do most of the contribution, but it is extremely gratifying to see your own output succeed thanks to your efforts. Sometimes having useless members or having no choice but having to work with these people that you don't necessarily like, it can be a blessing in disguise. Next, your experience will fully depend on how your teachers behave and treat your class. Some teachers are super friendly, they teach well, and they give fair grades. The complete package, the most ideal, so to say. But that usually isn't the case for most teachers. There's a good chance you're going to meet genius yet terror teachers, funny yet strict ones, and sometimes even just downright awful, you don't learn anything type of teachers. Some will treat you like grade schoolers. Some will discuss like it's a college lecture. At the end of the day, it is your call on how you treat it and how you handle that behavior. Next, and extremely important, don't expect to get spoon-fed Don't expect to always be given the PowerPoint presentations or lecture notes for any exams or quizzes to review with. You're going to have to make those yourself. This is what others didn't expect, and it was embarrassing for them. So don't keep that behavior of having everything given to you and all you have to do is sit there and study passively. Senior high school bridges you to prepare for college, so just start acting like a college student. Unfortunately, math and science still exist outside of STEM strands and courses. Based on what I've observed even as a STEM student, Hume's, ABM, other courses still have to go under general mathematics and science, such as chemistry and natural science. However, you are let off of calculus and physics, so at least there's that. Another extremely important one, you're gonna have to make the most out of your connections that you establish when you reach senior high school. Because as you know, when you enter college, being connected with a lot of people is probably the best asset you will ever have. And same goes with your senior year in high school. You're going to meet a lot of people. So take advantage of these new connections and build a strong bond. And I don't mean just befriend people who seem useful or helpful to you in the future, but so to speak, generally, it is a small world. And you never know that these friends you make can be extremely important to you in the future. Next, I procrastinate, you procrastinate, everyone has procrastinated at some point. But trust me, when you hit this time of school life, it is going to hit you so hard. So what I'm saying is you have to learn to start to control that urge, because you can't get away with it like you used to back in high school or middle school. Research proposals, papers, defenses, presentations, debates, and so many other projects are all gonna creep up on you, and they will not wait for you. They will continue to stack up on each other whether or not you procrastinate. Putting it off to the last minute is only gonna make it more miserable for you. This one's an obvious one. You're really going to miss sleep. It's a prerequisite for when you enter for college. Sleep is still important, but just know you're going to be very deprived of it if you plan to work really hard for honors or a good GPA. So for context, I don't live that far away from school, but I go to bed at around 11 to 12 a.m. and I wake up at 4 to 5 a.m. So in total, I would thrive off of 4 or 5 hours of sleep every single day. This can sometimes be a danger to my sanity, but it is just something you have to expect as a student, most especially someone who really wants to get up there and achieve those scores and grades that you desire. Another fact is that you're going to have to print a lot. So I just hope you are saving up for a printer or already have a printer at home. You're going to be preparing a lot of research papers, a lot of reports, lab reports. You have to be sure that you are prepared enough to get all of these on hand so that you don't get behind or miss anything. While we do have services for printing in our library and the book center, it can be quite tedious sometimes as there's a long line or it's just way too expensive, especially for colored ink. And another thing that I feel like a lot of you just don't want to hear, but it really is just the truth, and it's that you won't be able to balance everything. Complete balance is just impossible. Nearly impossible. You see, if you want to maintain your social and personal life while gaining those high achievements, you're not going to be able to do all of those at the same time. You could be thriving with your friends and extracurriculars, trying to make a difference and putting yourself out there and gaining your reputation. But on the other hand, you could also be completely failing pre-calculus. And same applies to me. I could be doing so well in my channel right now. I could be crashing down on all my subjects and having a hard time keeping up with everything because it is simply not possible to be maintaining the balance every single day. It is a give or take. So don't expect to make everything perfect. So when life comes crashing down and one thing just doesn't go your way, it is not the end of the world, and it is something that everybody experiences. Yes, it is normal for everyone to be stressed, especially during these years in high school. So even if you miss that deadline or fail that test, it is not the end of the world, and not everybody can do both at the same time. But to end on a good note, another tip that I would like to share is to always keep in touch with your seniors. They are always there to help you, handing you those notes, those PowerPoint presentations, some lecture notes, and even a lot of tips and advice that they may have when it comes to important projects such as your research proposals, your thesis, your presentations. They will know a lot because they've already done it. So take those connections again and use them to your advantage because they will be so useful to you in the future. And that brings us to the end of this video. I really hope you did learn something. So I hope that you stick around and join me on this journey as I enter into college the next time, and I will be so ready to give out my experiences and my advice if I do have any. I'll see you guys in the next video.